Hi everybody, I'm Chad Koel for Northland Outdoors. If you've watched enough of these pieces, you know that I'm the kind of guy that loves to experiment with baits and presentations. Try things differently, the way they weren't intended, especially when I'm trying to overcome a situation that a lake gives me or that the fish are giving me. There is no rule that says you have to use a bait the way it was intended by some engineer or designer in a lab someplace. Experiment and make it fit what the fish and the lake are giving you. Let me show you what I'm talking about with this particular situation. The Lund Explorer is back out on the road, and as always, we're exploring an out-of-the-way lake that I've never seen before. These small, unknown bodies of water can be fantastic, but they do pose some of their own unique challenges. One thing bass fishermen will know, especially largemouth bass fishermen, is that sometimes these small, fertile lakes, in fact, lots of times, are gold mines for bass fishermen. They're on nobody's radar, so they don't get any pressure. And largemouth bass don't need giant waters to grow really big. Sometimes these small, out-of-the-way places, the little blue spots on your map, can hold huge numbers and some really, really big fish. But one of the things you get with fertile lakes like this is lots of mossy vegetation, especially in shallow water. This lake in particular has a type of weed, I'm not sure if it's a type of milfoil or what, but it's just a thick, matted moss. And maybe you can kind of see the green right here behind me that grows up a good foot and a half or more off the bottom. And it makes presenting baits a real challenge. No matter how accurate you are, if you flip a traditional Texas rig plastic or a jig into cover like this, it simply sinks right out of sight and the bass will never find it. So the challenge is, how do we have our weight on the bottom but keep our bait and hook above the cover where the bass can find it? So here's a quick look at how I put this outfit together, what I call the power drop. Pretty simple, really. I like a wide gap worm hook. This one's just a 2-aught, smaller for a creature style bait like this one. I'll slip it right on the line and I don't tie it. And I attach a barrel swivel, which stops the hook there. When the weight drops down through the weeds, if the weeds happen to be deeper than this drop is, when the bait hits the weeds and sits on it, the line can go through and it can stay on top. It won't get pulled down into the weeds, okay? If it's a good, consistent depth of weed throughout the lake, say you know that everywhere you go you're going to have a foot to 18 inches of weeds that you got to punch through, or sit on top of, then I'll tie it direct at that distance. So a barrel swivel and then a leader. And I do it extra long, and I love these pencil drop shot weights is what they are for regular drop shottings, but I really beef them up for this technique. This is a 1/2 ounce. I'll go up to 3/4 ounce, even a 1 ounce weight. I want that to be able to punch right through those weeds and sit on the bottom, not drag around too much. And the nice thing about these is they have a little clip on them so that you can leave a long leader and then you can adjust that weight. You can make it so long, and then if you wanted to shorten it up or lengthen it out, you can. You have excess line there. And that's it. Simple. Weight, swivel, hook sliding, attach your bait, power drop. Good stuff. Someone grabbed it. There he goes. Look at him run. He picked that thing right up off the top of the moss and just took off for open water. Hey, now here's a classic power dropper situation. This entire shallow area here is covered with our moss. comes up a good 18 inches off the bottom. But the fish are going to be holding right up against some of this cover, down timber. We've got cattails, so on. Traditional method would sink right out of sight, but the dropper, I can flip right up there close. The sinker hits the bottom, and then I can just sit and jiggle that creature bait right on top of the moss. He's got it, there he goes. That was awesome. You just picked that thing up. It was laying on top of the moss. He just came along and picked it up, and then he headed for open water. Not a giant fish, but what the heck. Give you some idea of what I use on the heavy duty dropper rig, power dropper rig. A number of different baits. I started the day with this. It's a relative of the power bait Pit Boss. It's one of my favorite style creature baits, what they call a creature bait. I've gone now to a simple craw tube, blue and black craw tube, just a tube with craw legs on the back, also one of my favorites. And then the traditional stick bait is never far away. This is a Yamamoto Senko. Berkeley the General is another great one, and a lot of times I'll rig this wacky style on a heavy duty dropper like this. Essentially any plastic that you would use to Texas rig and flip heavy cover, pitch heavy cover, is the same bait that you're going to use on the heavy duty dropper or power dropper rig. There's one. There he is. Oh, big fish, good fish. Good one. Oh, get out of there. Oh, awesome. Oh, come here, buddy. Come here. Yes, heavy duty drop shot. Wow. It's all about adapting your presentation to the situation that you're given by the lake or by the fish. In today's case, we took what is traditionally a deep water, small bait, finesse presentation, the drop shot, and we turned it into heavy duty drop shotting or power dropping, whatever you want to call it. Keep that bait above that thick moss where the bass can find it, and you can put them in the boat.